Good afternoon to everybody. My name is Oksana Markiv, and I would like to present our teamwork, experimental and exploratory analysis of programming languages popularity according to the PYPL index. This work dwells upon procedure for primary and exploratory analysis of data concerning programming languages popularity according to PYPL index. Classical but flexible methods of analysis were used. Examples have been provided, and based on question, the ethnographic results has been constructed. Integral part of report's information content consists of executable code examples in the R language. In order to use the capabilities of systems, it is necessary to have a tool for managing them, such programming language. Popularity of programming languages may be considered from statistical angle, and it will allow to see patterns and trends among developers. Mathematical processing of data will allow to build relative indicators of growth or decline in the popularity of languages. In this slide, we can see indices and ratings used for assessing. It can be PYPL, popularity of programming language, GitHub or Stack Overflow, TIOBE, programming community index, and their peculiarities are described on this site. Correlation analysis is used in our work. There is a need to present algorithm for performing a correlation matrix with its visualization in the form of heat map. Also, cluster analysis is used. One of the main tasks when performing it is to determine the next union node, find the minimum among the elements without taking into account the mate diagonal. More general picture of clustering involves the creation of dendrogram. Remembering the results of clustering, we present, in order to remember intermediate results of clustering, and switching to dendrogram, we present a diagram of activities presented in this slide. Experimental data value for 28 languages. Data was collected by Kaggle users, and CSV format of initial data is presented in our article. At present, dataset includes data from July 2004 to September 2021. And discussed languages are BAP, Ada, C++, COBOL, Dart, Delphi, Pascal, Go, Groovy, Haskell, Java, JavaScript, Julia, Kotlin, Lua, MATLAB, Objective-C, PHP, Python, R, Ruby, Rust, and other languages. And R language was used to data experiments and graphing in general. When studying the dynamics of time series, the smoothing mechanisms are used in our work, such as exponential and median filtering. And in this slide, we see the beginning of our experimental part. As I have said, 28 languages were discussed. Here we see parts of data represented in the form of table, some kind of output, a fragment of data window after it is loaded. Also, we see interactive cancel text with basic statistics and different histograms for one-time series. And I have said that smoothing was used for exponential median filtering, but for linear handler smoothing, there is a problem of redundancy in the construction of smoothing function, for example, using all the parameters, and the function will look like this. So here we have a comparison of two smoothing graphs based off their popularity. And when conducting correlation analysis of time series, it's often necessary to build correlation matrices and display them in the form of heat maps. However, the primary task is to construct a correlation field, a dot plot, for example, with ggplot2. It can be constructed as follows, and this is demonstrated in our slide, and more precise and more information are in the article. For the correlation use, a correct use of data, it's necessary to conduct a classical intelligence analysis. To improve the appearance, it's good to divide languages into certain groups: mean value, dispersion, median, and after sorting by average value, we have such results. So here we see a normal secular dendrogram created by the script graph of time series popularity, generated clustering dendrogram using the hash class function. So dendrogram good for when after this kind of analysis was made previously. And the main conclusions are that the most popular language nowadays is Python and Java during observation period, but these languages are completely different. Sometimes like an animus between them, but really popular. PHP is not so popular now, yeah. So smoothing mechanisms was used to highlight the trend line close to initial data, moving average, exponential, median filtering, and here we see set of time series graph divided in groups. If I had said that languages should be grouped by different parameters in order to have precise results. Time series graph of the second group of languages in the polar system here, and histogram of the time series popularity of R language and empirical probability distribution function for a time series. So what is obvious that new languages such as Go, Dart, Gelanim don't affect popularity of old one because they solve new problems. So there is no linear relationship between, for example, Dart and C#. Java and Python are completely different, and this data analysis, but very popular nowadays, yes. And this data analysis, data science, neural network are popular now. Our languages, Java, are increasing in popularity, so it's important to learn and study them. From here we see a correlation field for Dart and C languages based on our conclusions, and heat map was a correlation matrix. And dendrogram of different kind of clustering are proposed on this slide. Here you can get acquainted with this for clustering. So clustering number 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're described here, such the dendrogram of clustering. So from diagram, it can be seen that separate cluster of C, JavaScript, Scala, Java, Kabul can be distinguished, and again a cluster of languages Python, Java, PHP will be added at the end. So conclusions are following: the result of experimental exploratory analysis of data concerning program languages popularity. According to PYPL, the presence of various trends in the dynamics of the popularity of programming languages was revealed, and relationships between two different languages was established in our work. In the case of complex consideration of time series, the hypothesis was created regarding the complexity and absolute nonlinearity of the general trend using programming language. Though in the result, we see that some programming languages have sufficiently unique popularity that it distinguishes them, and some languages are popular and some aren't so popular today. And so as a result of exploratory and cluster analysis, it was concluded that the data on the popularity of programming languages are suitable for research, but the methods of the analysis should be more, and it will be discussed in our future research, in our future work. So thank you for your attention and welcome for questions.